Hello and welcome back to the AndroidAppTraining.com online course. In this video we're going to add the components that we're going to need to create an email form. We're working on our business card app here, and you can see that we have our image header and we have our call us button with our phone call functionality attached to it. So let's add an email us button. We'll grab the button from the basic palette, we'll plug it in, and we'll change our text to email us. Now I'm going to change the name of this button right off the bat to the email us button. And let's change the font size to match our first button. We'll change it to font size 20. So before we lay out the rest of the components, I'm going to explain to you how this is going to work. When we press this email us button, it's going to take us to a new screen. And that's where our email form is going to be. Now we haven't learned to create multiple screens in App Inventor. That tutorial is coming up shortly. But creating multiple screens in App Inventor isn't all that hard to do. And strangely enough, we're actually going to start by creating everything on this first screen here. And then we're going to tell App Inventor to hide all of this stuff down here until we want it, which is when we press our email us button. So in order for us to start placing our components that are going to be on our second screen, let's go to the screen arrangement and place another table arrangement below the one we've already created. Now inside this table arrangement, I'm going to place a button, a text box, and then another button. So what I need is one column, but I need 3 rows to house all that. And let's go ahead and change our width to fill parent. We'll do OK. And I'm going to change the height to fill parent as well. In this case, when we go to our second screen, we want our table arrangement to really fill the entire screen because we're not going to have all of the buttons that we're going to add in this arrangement here. Okay, so the next step is to add our components into our table arrangement here. And what we're going to need, like I said before, is a button. And we're going to have a text box and another button. Now, if we go up to the top button here, I'm going to go over here and change this text to the word back. I'm actually going to use this button to take the user back to this main screen here when this back button is pressed. And as far as this button, we're going to use this to send our email message. So we're going to type send message. And for our text box, first let's start by changing the width to fill parent. And now if we look at some of the other properties, we can actually add a hint for the text box. So what happens when I fill this out is when somebody looks at the text box, there's going to be sort of a grayed out text that says whatever I put in here. And in this case, I'm going to say, write your message. So when they look at this text box, they know they can write their message. And when they tap in that box to start typing, this write your message hint will disappear and it will just allow them to type their message. Okay, so next let's change the names of some of these things so that we know what they are when we go to the blocks editor. So this is going to be the back button. This text box is actually going to be our email text box. So I'll type that in. And button 2 here, which you see is highlighted, is going to be our email button. And that's going to send our message for us. Now in order to get our email form to work, we're going to need another activity starter. And if you remember, that's going to be under the other stuff drawer. We'll drag in an activity starter and we'll see it pops down to the bottom here. So I'm going to rename that to email activity starter. And we're set to go as far as our components for creating our email form. In our next video, I'll show you how to put the blocks together to make your email form function.